Sound of drums, the drums of war. Um, Guys, if you like drums but don't like war, go ahead and hit subscribe, and we're gonna follow this thing in Ukraine out. This is this is just weird. Again, I've got a background kind of in this stuff. It's more of a, I don't know. If you ever get in your profession, there's a part of it that you like a lot, and you don't really have much to do with it, but you always are interested in reading about it and everything else. That's me and foreign politics, policy, stuff like that. In history, I love. It's always the battles that form history. It's never policy. No one talks about that. I don't know. The Versailles peace treaties, right? But anyway, let's jump into this. Um, New details about Russian false flag plan prompts U.S. to prepare for worse than Ukraine. Now you can tell, man. Media is they are trumping this stuff up. Make what's his name here some sort of a war hero. New granular detail. What a stupid ass way to start a sentence. Granular detail. Oh man. The planning of a false flag attack in Ukraine by Russia is among the intelligent items discussed in the Situation Room on Thursday night. Emergency meeting, U.S. officials confirmed to CBS News. I mean, this should just be in a basic notebook by now. This should always be covered. It should always be covered. You would recognize this as propaganda. All right, it's a an enemy. In this case, Ukraine and Russia. Russia being the enemy of Ukraine is going to send out some propaganda, something to get their people riled up, and then they're going to do like a roundabout, like, oh, we were attacked, we're just defending ourselves. I mean, it's what was the there's a conspiracy theory that the U.S. did that in the '60s with Vietnam. It was the I should have looked that up now. I just now thought about it. It was an aircraft carrier got hit. Anyway, the Washington Post, the first to report this on Friday about the false flag operation, was among the data points in the new intelligence. Well, it's not very intelligent, so how about let's see what the rest of it is. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan. Is that the guy in the GIMP mask? Anyway, Friday, that the U.S. is firmly convinced that Russia is looking hard at the creation of a false flag operation to justify an invasion. Something that they generate and try to blame on the Ukrainians as a trigger for military action. I mean, it's simple. You just say, we didn't do it. There literally is a red phone in the Oval Office. And it was there after, there's they thought that Russia thought we had launched nuclear attacks. And so anyway, both sides came to the realization that they needed a direct line to the other to confirm, in case of a false reading. And literally, it's like the president of Russia can pick up the phone and immediately starts ringing in D.C. as White House. It's a great idea. It's always worked. And like, you're gonna sit here and say, I'm like, really, Russia's gonna say, oh, Ukraine attacked us, and Ukraine's not gonna be able to say, no, we didn't. We have proof that we didn't. I mean, this is just silly. This is silly justification that a military superpower, big elite money type people are trying to sell to you that, oh, we've got to get involved. And first of all, you have to ask yourself, why are we being involved in anything about Ukraine? I don't understand it. Nobody has sold me on this. Oh, and look how they would start. They'd start with aerial bombing ahead of an onslaught of massive force. I mean, duh. Just go look at the History Channel. You watch the invasion of everything. You watch it live. CNN reports from the invasion of Kuwait and Desert Storm, Desert Shield, whatever they were, Iraq, all these things. I mean, you immediately go with a aerial attacks because you take out their defenses, their air defenses. You take out their radar units, take out their power plants. Russian forces are already positioned to send troops pouring across Ukraine. I mean, they act like it's going to be like a Korean, the Korean War when they'd send in waves upon waves of communists. U.S. officials said that Russia already has intelligence operatives on the ground and could create a pretext for an invasion by assisting in creating a false flag. Last month, U.S. officials said this could involve Russian operatives trained in urban warfare and using explosives to carry out acts of sabotage against Russia's own proxy forces. Oh my gosh. So Russia is going to attack Russia inside the border of Ukraine or from Ukraine. Russia's going to attack Russia. Think about that. What if that happened to us in America? What if you found out that the leader of the free world, said we're going to go ahead and attack our own troops to make it get people to justify, which is another weird thing. When two sovereign states battle, you don't need justification. A sovereign state doesn't need justification for what it does. I mean, nobody needs justification for what they do. You only need justification if you're ever as a means for a defense and a defense of equity. But there's no justification you have to have for why you do something. You get that stuff. That terminology comes from World War II. It's like, oh my gosh, the Germans, they invaded Czechoslovakia or Poland, whatever it was. And it's like Hitler just said, well, I just need some elbow room. We're reunifying the Germanic peoples, what they said. So you had like Austria, a part of Czechoslovakia, part of Poland, all the Germanic tribes, because that's all they were 100 years before World War II, were a bunch of tribes living in stone huts. Let's see here. Now they're talking about weather conditions. That freeze the ground will allow heavy Russian military equipment, including tanks, to advance more easily. What about global warming? Where's global? I really do expect sometime there'd be a global warming report on what this would be like. This is so dumb. U.S. officials do not have evidence that Putin has decided to deploy these assets to launch an invasion, but emphasize that he is now capable of making a decision to execute with very little warning. So it's just fake, man. They even admit to it. All this does is somebody sitting there around table and they figured out that nobody else has said this first. And they just say it because it's like a dog wanting to please its master. They're just trying to make somebody happy so they can be a good little lap dog and get some, get their pictures taken and stuff like that, and then go out and sell themselves to a private industry as a lobbyist. There's no thing just seems goofy to me about a false flag. False flags here. So anyway, that's just me. I have no authority on anything. It's just, if they're coming up with their own theories, I can come up with my own theories. And I'm just as qualified. So anyway, till next time. Oh, excuse me, I didn't go to Ivy League. So, ooh. So I don't count for anything. I'm not allowed to wash their cars. Anyway, guys, till next time, don't forget to subscribe. And get some earplugs for those drums, the beating of the drums. Don't pay attention to them. And Godspeed, y'all.